Today on Paranormal Insights, we're going to take a look at remote viewing and if somebody is watching.
And we have a question from Linda who wants to know about her life's purpose.
And we're going to take a quick look with Crystal Bill and Living Rainbows in Crystals. Joseph Ernest Martin.
And I'm Linda Potter.
And this is Paranormal Insights, where we bring you the latest and best from the metaphysical world.
Here you'll get real tools and insights to your questions as we bring you answers from beyond the ordinary.
Linda is a hypnotist who specializes in guided meditation and past life regression. She's also the author of a great new book, The Miracle of Self-Healing.
An award-winning psychic for over 20 years, Joseph Ernest Martin is author of the international bestseller, The Quest to Row, and recipient of the Visionary Award of Excellence.
One of the things I love about remote viewing is the idea that we can not only see distant places, almost like a live television show on the earth, but that there's that real possibility of being able to possibly see into the future or into the past.
Yes, I think with remote viewing, what I love as a past life regressionist and knowing how you can take someone back into different centuries and different times in history.
Simply put, remote viewing is the ability to see a distant or unseen target using paranormal means. This can differ from traditional psychic practices in that remote viewers use physical models to organize their perception and use methodical techniques to stabilize the virtual environment that they are perceiving. Remote viewers see and receive impressions of different places and peoples, often with as much accuracy as traditional intelligence information gathering. No one would suggest that intelligence agencies would only use remote viewers. But using traditional means with the addition of skilled remote viewers adds to the accuracy of the total amount of information gathered. Does this mean that someone is peeking at you and you don't know it? Well, it could be. The US government created the Stargate project with a starting budget of over $20 million to determine the potential military uses of psychic phenomenon. It has been rumored that the total budget for the psychic research in the government has totaled over $500 million. It has only been because of people like Joseph McMoneagle, who was awarded the Legion of Merit for determining, and I quote, 150 essential elements of information producing crucial and vital intelligence unavailable from any other source. Joseph McMoneagle has been considered to be remote viewer 001 for the United States government. Because of his work, we know of some of the inner workings of the psychic spies that have been using their psychic talents for our country. Remote viewers like Ingo Swann have been tested again and again. The conclusion being that the results indicated that exceptional skills have been demonstrated between Swann's drawings of distant locations and the actual locations in real-time space. The goal of the government has been to be able to train recruits and reproduce real and beneficial results in a repeatable format. They created a series of protocols and methods to be able to get the highest possible accuracy rate from those individuals that showed promise as psychic remote viewers. The ability to become a remote viewer, surprisingly, exists in most people. And even in the US military, picking out people with remote viewing potential was relatively easy. McMoneagle indicated that it's as easy to find a psychic in the military as it is to see a candle burning in a dark room. You may have the talent to see distant places and peoples, but not yet know it. How can you test yourself to see if you have the ability to become a remote viewer? Well, online, you can go to greaterreality.com for an easy and simple online test, which would indicate if you have some real potential in remote viewing. However, the practice of remote viewing usually requires a skilled teacher to help guide you in the practices and methods that can yield tangible results. Opening oneself up to psychic remote viewing without a skilled guide or teacher could create actual damage to one's grasp on reality. Remote viewers have talked about the slippery, nonlinear nature of time when remote viewing. You may not only be seeing a place, but you may also be seeing a different time. Psychic energy is still being researched and understood. It appears that time-space is not as solid or linear as many would like it to be. Well, you know what? Whenever we have a psychic influence, whenever we have our energy projected out somewhere, it does affect all the people that are involved, not only the remote viewer themselves, but the people even being viewed. And you know, I was in a class in remote viewing that was actually being taught by someone who had studied at SciTech with Ed Dames. And this is the famous government psychic institution that did psychic research. And the whole class I was in was trying to determine what the target was. And the target was held by the instructor in an envelope at the front of the class. And so all of us are drawing things. Now, what normally happens with first-time remote viewers is they interpret the images they're getting from their own vocabulary. So when I was drawing, I got 2 eyes, a nose, and a mouth. And all of a sudden, I started drawing a teddy bear. And I just kept going with it. Now, when they removed and showed the target, it was actually an alien, or what is considered to be an alien skull. So the eyes, the nose, the mouth were part of the target, but my interpretation drew me toward teddy bear. Now, when you practice remote viewing, the idea is to get rid of the things that you personalize it with and stay with exactly what you're getting, regardless of your own interpretation.
Remote viewing is the ability to obtain information about a distant object or image using paranormal ability. It's using the mind to gather information through extrasensory perception. The beginnings of remote viewing are very interesting. It all began in 1972 when a PhD by the name of Hal Puthoff circulated a proposal to gain a grant for research in quantum biology involving plants. A New York artist by the name of Ingo Swann happened to see the proposal, and he wrote Puthoff a letter encouraging him to consider experiments using parapsychology. Swann describes some of his successful experiments in psychokinesis, which is mentally influencing the state of an object without any physical intervention. As a result of this correspondence, Ingo Swann was invited to come to the Stanford Research Institute to demonstrate this ability. Swann was taken to the physics department of Stanford University, and while in the laboratory, he began to remote view a particular piece of equipment that was well shielded in a vault beneath the floor of the building. Well, he not only remote viewed the apparatus that was in the vault beneath the floor of the building, but he described the internal workings of this very complex apparatus. These findings were so impressive to everyone that read the reports that they resulted in a visit some weeks later by the representatives of the intelligence community, the CIA in particular. The concern that Soviets were actively pursuing research in parapsychology and the United States was not had become a concern. On the other hand, our scientists looked at the world of parapsychology as invalid. It would be a challenge to prove its worthiness to the powers that be, and these are the ones that held the purse strings funding these types of projects. The research continued with Ingo Swann, Hal Puthoff, and others in this field like Joseph McMoneagle, Pat Price, and Russell Targ, just to name a few of the trailblazers. In fact, the term remote viewing was introduced by Russell Targ and Hal Puthoff in 1974. Stargate, the United States remote viewing project, officially began in 1978 under the watchful eye of numerous oversight committees. It had to be approved on a year-to-year basis, with the government agencies making sure that it operated within a set of scientific boundaries, closely monitoring the success rate of it as well. Stargate was officially disbanded in 1995, but it's heavily rumored that the project continues because of its incredible, dependable ability to see places without going there. The uses for remote viewing are numerous. It's been used to find lost people, to survey and pinpoint the locations of airplane crashes, for spying on countries' hidden or secretly developed weapons. The sky's the limit. Actually, the sky isn't the limit. Remote viewing can be used to examine land on Mars and the Moon, and you don't have to be trained by a military organization to know how to use it. That's a very true thing, and what I found in the remote viewing class that I did was, number one, it's important to get an instructor that you're comfortable with. I wasn't so comfortable with the gentleman that I had for various reasons. But what I noticed about this as well is that your own biases, your own, if you think it's like a teddy bear, you're going to draw that, but at least you make a mental note and a comment that my flavoring is that it's a teddy bear, but I'm just getting the two eyes, the round face, and the typical type of nose that you're getting. The other thing that's very interesting about remote viewing is when you do controlled remote viewing, you're doing it in a way where your mind is making up the scenario, the target, so that you don't intrude on the energies of people or beings that are in that space that have the ability to pick up on any energy change in that atmosphere. So the controlled remote viewing is another animal altogether.
You may be surprised to know that remote viewing has no physical or distance limitations. This means that when someone is using the technique of remote viewing, they are not limited to or by any geographical location. There are some limits to remote viewing. These tend to be personal limitations of the psychic individual that is doing the work. Some remote viewers cannot see water. So if the target is a water feature like a waterfall or a lake, then they won't be able to see it. When you or someone else is being trained in remote viewing, you will learn where your limitations fall. Each individual is different, and you want to be as clean a vessel as possible. You may be thinking, can someone see remotely into the past? And the answer is yes. Space and time are not as linear as they appear. Many times, remote viewers will view events in the past or even in the future. Though this sounds like a lot of fun, it is important to note that supervised training is necessary in order not to get damaged by the experience. Before or because you are not truly in control of what you will be seeing with remote viewing, you may be shocked or completely unprepared for what will happen. So please don't try this at home. But if you are interested in becoming a remote viewer yourself, there are many truly reputable people that can help you. Yes, and people that I know that have been really involved, especially with government programs that are developing the protocols and methodologies of how to do this and how to do this in a repeatable way. Now, the government, of course, wants a mechanism. They want a repeatable methodology that you can follow from A to B to C to D all the way down that's going to give them real repeatable results. The nice thing about that is it gives the students, the people learning about how to do this, a way to hang their psychic stuff, which tends to be kind of fuzzy, onto this really strict methodology that is allowing them then to fall backwards to something like a safety net to get the real information out.
If you want to learn how to remote view, there are 3 things you can do to make that happen in a good way. The first thing I would suggest is hop on YouTube. There's a plethora of people that teach remote viewing. You want to look at what they're saying, listen to what they're saying, and see if you get a resonance to any particular practitioner that way. The second thing you want to do is get a book on remote viewing. It's going to give you some more in-depth information, and it'll make you understand all the nuances about remote viewing. The third thing I would suggest is that you take in a seminar on remote viewing that a remote viewer is giving someone that you might want to take a class with. If you have a connection with that individual on that particular seminar, you may just sign up and be well on your way to remote viewing yourself. Yes, and the thing is, when it comes to remote viewing, it's such a scientific, it's supposed to be scientific because of the fact that it's a government-sponsored program. And oftentimes with a government-sponsored program, you have to get their attention. And I know of a case where they used money and the market to predict what it was they were going to be buying. And the remote viewers did a really good job of it, and they were so surprised that that happened. It gave them a little bit more mileage as far as scientifically pushing the envelope on being funded.
I agree. And the groups I've known that have done the remote viewing too, especially in experiments like trying to hit the lotto, which of course I know we'd all love to see and do, they found that they were able to hit $5,000 and $10,000 jackpots, but that the energy of everybody was interfering with the signal so much that it was hard to pinpoint it exactly. That's why you need, I think, traditional methods also, in addition to the psychic methods. Now we're going to take a quick look with Crystal Bill and living rainbows in crystals. I'm here with Crystal Bill, and Crystal Bill has some of the most beautiful crystals I have ever seen at a show. He's created some DVDs, and he's the discoverer of the rainbow crystal phenomenon.
The living rainbows.
The living rainbows. You want to tell us about that first?
The living rainbows are just the most exciting thing I've ever seen. These are particular quartz crystals that have been polished so you can see inside of them clearly. When you hold them in your hands, they actually have rainbows that move around from the heat of your hands. And they create these beautiful patterns that look like rivers, flowers, mountains, little trees. And they're actually gardens that grow, and you can see them right with your own eyes.
Now, I have actually watched Crystal Bill's DVD on these living rainbows, and it is absolutely fascinating how beautiful they are.
Well, the colors are extraordinary. They're the purest colors in the world. You could compare them to a rainbow in the sky, but they're actually even brighter.
Now, where do you find the specimens you have in your booth? Because honestly, they're really incredible. They are highly polished. They are just beautifully cut. You must not just find them anywhere you go.
Well, most of them come from Brazil. I get my crystals from Arkansas. There's really beautiful natural ones available with just incredible, the original faces that look like they're polished. They're so clean. The ones from Brazil, they often polish them into these incredible shapes. I go to every rock show, every rock shop, every dealer. Anything I can find, I'm there. Yes. I'm all over it.
Now, what's one of the most amazing specimens you've seen in your years of collecting and selling these wonderful stones?
Well, the small one would be this one, which is rutilated quartz, and a very brilliant crystal with hundreds of actually faceted titanium crystals in it.
Holy cow.
On the other end of the spectrum, I have a 7-foot-tall amethyst cave big enough to sit in.
Now, have you ever sat in this amethyst cave?
I do. Yes. I have people come and sit in it. We play giant crystal singing bowls, and they vibrate from here to heaven and back again.
Well, some people say, like, if you sit in one of these huge amethyst caves, that it amplifies your psychic ability. You're able to hear things. Is that true?
People have a whole range of experiences. They have physical healings, they get emotional balancings, they have paranormal experiences. Many of them actually go back to the beginning of the universe and hear the first tones of creation.
Now, that just sounds fascinating to me. I hope maybe you'll let me sit in it sometime and try it out.
You can come and visit anytime.
Okay, well, where can people find you and more about the beautiful stones you've collected?
The easiest way to find us is on the web. It's elegantcrystals.com. And we have a terrific website with 150 spectacular stones. I am currently in Salinas. I have a new 1,300 square foot warehouse with 2 giant amethyst thrones.
Well, fantastic. You'll see this information in this segment, and of course at the end of the show in the credits to make it very easy to find. Crystal Bill, I have to tell you, I have admired the stones that you have so much that if I won the lotto, I would just buy you out and live with these gorgeous, gorgeous pieces.
And if I won the lotto, it would not be for sale anymore.
Well, good for that. Hey, thank you so much for this.
A pleasure.
And we have a viewer question from Linda, who wants to know, what is her life's purpose?
Hi, Joseph. Hi, Linda. I have a question. I really would like to know, what's my purpose on the earth? I mean, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to bring to the world? I've always been flummoxed about that. Can you help me?
Linda, I really like your question, and it's a really big question. Life purpose, what am I supposed to bring into the world? What am I supposed to be doing? I've asked my guides, I've asked your guides to come through. I'm going to lay out the cards, and we're going to see what they want to give you as a message for your life purpose. You know, the first thing here that I'd like to tell you is that you are a very hard worker. You know how to create victory through direct effort. And you're willing to do what it takes to make that happen, even if it's difficult, and even if you're in opposition to other people along your path. Now, ideally, what you do like is truth, honesty, integrity, and people treating you in that way. You want the light to be on. You want to know what's happening. You are very, very open right now to whatever life will tell you and whatever your guides are willing to tell you to do. Now, what often happens with spirit guides, especially our guides when they talk to us about our life purpose, is they don't want to tell you everything. They want you to decide. And indeed here, your guides are telling you that they want you to be passionate about making a choice for you. So think of this like you would a child asking about ice cream at an ice cream parlor. You know that all the ice cream is good, every flavor. So when the child says to you, what's the best flavor? You have to say, choose whatever you want to choose. It's all good. And this is partially what your guides are telling you right now. I know you have a little fear going on here for yourself about choosing a life path. And it's about, will I choose the right path? Will I be wasting time? I don't want to spin my wheels. I don't want to be useless. I want to be functional and helpful and productive in the real world. You already have this answer within you, I feel very directly. But you're kind of holding back on it for fear of making the right choice. The universe says, we're going to help you with this. We're going to open the doors, open the pathways. We are going to make this happen with you once you put your passionate energy forward. You are the Father of Swords, the divine right of kings, honesty, integrity, body, mind, spirit, standing tall and powerful for your own life. I feel above all else, you want to be passionate and choose something you absolutely love to do for yourself. And when you do that, you're going to find that the doors open up. Now, I often don't lay out a second set of cards to find out, but I am just darn curious what your guides are going to say as a little bit more direction for you. Now, what happens often when we ask the guides a second time part of a question is that they will say, in repetition, part of the main answer, and indeed you're getting that. They're saying you're loving, choose something you love and you're passionate about, you're getting that again. And they're saying with honesty people, integrity people, people of high caliber, that's very important. I don't want you to work with negative, dishonest people at all here. They say use your confidence and do something that you love that helps the world and the people in it. If you do those things, you're going to be doing exactly what your life path is for you this lifetime. Consider this and consider it's your choice, and I think you will not go wrong.
Life's purpose is something everyone at one time or another begins to seek. And even though you may not realize what it is, you can trust that you're already working within your life's purpose. The thing is, it may not have anything to do with your job, but everything to do with where your passion lies. To figure it out, simply do a bit of reflecting on the life you've already lived. Track back and look for a theme with your life. For example, have you always been the one to care for others, whether it's family or friends or even a neighbor? In general, do you seem to be involved with the care and well-being of other people? In this case, it would be easy to see that caregiving is your life's purpose. Or maybe for you, this life is one of great contemplation, that you're a seeker of knowledge in some specific area of your life. You may have great interest in theology or somewhere in the sciences, in which case your life's purpose just may be self-knowledge. Possibly you have a life of holding deep compassion for others, setting a positive example of unconditional love. An example where people observe the great energy of kindness that you create, in turn, embracing more compassion in their own lives. Or maybe you're a good steward of nature and tuned into the welfare of our planet. Maybe your awareness of how we're all connected to all things helps others by your example to respect the land, the animals, and the people. This would be a case in point of the life purpose of a catalyst, one who affects a change, exposing new ideas for others to become aware of and possibly embrace themselves. We often have this idea that our purpose in life should somehow be very noticeable, that it should be obvious, but that's not always the case. Our life's purpose serves more than just us. Everything we do and say and how we live our life affects everyone we come in contact with. And it's our life's purpose or theme that sets the stage of the experiences we have in life. Keep in mind that your life's purpose does not necessarily have to be one that the world at large notices. Only a purpose that is important to you on the level of your soul, the most important place of all.
Really, life purpose questions are huge because all of us want to be on our best life path. We want to be doing the best, and at some point we don't want to be wasting any time either. We want to make it happen.
Yes, and it's confusing to know what your life's purpose is. It takes a little bit of thought to figure that out, and everybody wants to know it across the board. And you do get to a certain point in your life where you start to wonder, what is it?
We want to hear from you. We want to answer your questions and discuss your topics. We're easy to find. You can find me at joseph@questtarot.com or my website, questtarot.com.
And you can find me at my website at sightforhealing.com and join me on my internet radio show, The Open Door, on scepterradionetwork.com. You can view this program on Comcast Channel 17 in Sacramento, California, and at accesssacramento.org. And don't forget to watch our companion show, Paranormal Connection, with host Donna Wilberg.
You can also find us on YouTube, Vimeo, and Facebook. Just simply search for Joseph Ernest Martin, Linda Potter, or Paranormal Insights. And we also want you to watch our new weekly series, The Magic Minute, which plays every Wednesday on Vimeo and YouTube, where it only takes a moment to make magic.
We want to hear from you so we can bring you our paranormal insights and answers from beyond the ordinary.